So, what if the global consensus on the best way to teach is, well, just plain wrong? Today, we're diving into a remarkable case study from a South African township. It's the story of one teacher, one class, and a turnaround that really challenges everything we think we know. Okay, just look at this chart. It tells a pretty incredible story. We're in a low-income school, and in 2015, this group of grade 8 students had a science pass rate of just 20%. I mean, that's really low. But get this, 1 year later, that same exact group of students, now in grade 9 with a new teacher, had an 81% pass rate. That's not just a small jump, that's a more than four-fold increase in just 12 months.
So you've got to be asking, how on earth did that happen? There wasn't any new funding, no fancy new facilities, and the students were the same kids. Literally, the only thing that changed was their new teacher, a man the study calls Mr. N. So what was his secret? All right. To really get what Mr. N pulled off, we need to kind of zoom out for a second. His classroom is basically ground zero for this massive debate happening in global education, a real clash between two totally different ideas about how we learn. And this is the heart of it. On one side, you've got learner-centered pedagogy, or LCP. This is the modern ideal, right? The teacher is a facilitator, and students are supposed to discover knowledge for themselves. On the other side is the more traditional, teacher-centered pedagogy, or TCP, where the teacher is the expert who transmits knowledge directly. And right now, LCP is being pushed all over the globe as the official best practice. And look, this isn't just some academic theory. This learner-centered model is official policy in a whopping 68% of developing nations. And that includes South Africa, which is where our story is taking place. But here's the kicker. Even though it's official policy, the research is overwhelming. These learner-centered reforms almost never actually work on the ground. A huge review of all the studies on this concluded the literature was, and I'm quoting here, riddled with stories of failures grand and small. So the policy says one thing, but reality is saying something else entirely.
Okay, so keeping that massive global failure in mind, let's go back to Mr. N's classroom. You know, the one place where things were working. Let's dig in and see what he was doing that led to that incredible 81% pass rate.
So when researchers took a closer look, they found Mr. N was completely ignoring the official learner-centered model. Instead, he was using a style called formalistic teacher-centered pedagogy. His focus was laser-sharp on one thing: efficiently getting the exact knowledge his students needed into their heads so they could pass their high-stakes national exams. That's it.
Now you might be picturing some boring old-school lecture, but that wasn't it at all. His method was super structured, but also surprisingly engaging. Think rapid-fire questions and answers, a constant back and forth, not long monologues. Students all had prepared worksheets, which was brilliant because it freed him up from the blackboard so he could interact with them. And maybe most importantly, he would skillfully switch between English and their home language, Sesotho, to make sure these complex science ideas really truly landed.
And the impact went way beyond just test scores. The entire atmosphere of the classroom was transformed. These were the same kids who were disruptive and totally checked out the year before. Now, they were respectful, mentally engaged, and focused. They even had incredibly high rates of homework completion, which was something almost unheard of in that school.
So this all begs the question, right? Why did this traditional, teacher-centered method succeed so dramatically when the modern, globally endorsed one had failed? Well, as this study makes crystal clear, the answer is all about context.
Mr. N's success wasn't an accident. It was a masterclass in adapting to reality. The national curriculum demanded memorizing exact definitions for the exams, so that's what he drilled. His approach also happened to align with cultural views of knowledge as something passed down from an elder. And crucially, he was just plain good at it. This wasn't mindless chanting. It was skillful, engaging dialogue from a teacher who adapted his resources to fit the job perfectly.
And this gets to the absolute heart of why this all matters. For these students, passing an exam isn't just an academic exercise. The study notes that in places dealing with deep poverty, these tests are one of the only fair, corruption-free paths to a better life, a chance to escape poverty and support their families.
So what's the big takeaway from Mr. N's story? Well, it's absolutely not that his teacher-centered method is universally better than any other. That is not the point at all. Instead, this study presents his success as a proof of concept for a really powerful idea called positive deviance. The logic is simple. Instead of importing expert solutions from the outside, you look for the people within a community who are already succeeding against the odds. Then, you figure out what they're doing so others can learn from them.
You see how that just flips the whole script? The goal shouldn't be to push a one-size-fits-all global policy that keeps failing. It should be to search for the local, attainable solutions, like Mr. N's, that are already proven to work in their specific environment.
And that leaves us with a final provocative thought. The story of Mr. N suggests that maybe the most important question we can ask in education isn't what's the best practice in theory, but rather what's the best fit for this reality, right here, right now.